In the ancient sands of Jerusalem, where the first temple rose under a sky heavy with divine will, King Solomon, the wise son of David, wielded a power that chilled the heart, command over demons. Legends whisper of a magical ring, gifted by the archangel Michael, its seal blazing with divine authority, binding spirits to his will. The Testament of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon unveil a catalogue of horrors, demons of storm, seduction, and ruin, enslaved to build the sacred temple. These spirits, fallen angels or cosmic terrors, haunted the nightmares of the ancient world, their names etched in clay and whispered in fear. Today, in 2025, their legacy endures in grimoires, museum relics, and tales that stir the soul. Who were these 8 spirits bound by Solomon's ring, their powers chained yet ever restless? From the star-born sisters to the shape-shifting horrors, we unravel their dread, their deeds, and their defiance. Demonology fans, which spirit's terror chills you most? Let's plunge into the abyss of Solomon's command. Ornias, the vampire of vitality. First among Solomon's captives was Ornias, a demon of theft and torment, his former shadow that slithered through the night, a spectre woven from darkness that chilled the soul. In the Testament of Solomon, he plagued a young worker toiling on the first temple's sacred stones, stealing half his wages with a touch that drained gold as easily as hope, and sucking the life from his right thumb, leaving the boy pale and frail, his breath shallow as if death itself grazed his soul, his eyes hollow with the terror of Ornias's unseen presence. His form shifted between man and mist, a vampire of vitality, whose eyes gleamed with malice, glinting like embers in a starless void, his laughter a low hiss that coiled around the heart like a serpent. The workers' cries echoed through Jerusalem's moonlit streets, the air thick with ash and dread, the stones he carved trembling, as if the earth itself recoiled from Ornias's touch. Solomon, guided by divine will, stood resolute in the temple's sacred halls, his prayers rising like incense to pierce the heavens. The archangel Michael descended, delivering a ring of power, its seal blazing with the name that subdues all, its light burning through the shadows like a fire that consumes the dark. The worker, trembling yet emboldened, hurled the ring at Ornias, its radiance binding him in chains of light that seared his form, his hisses echoing like a storm trapped in a jar, the air shuddering as his malice was caged. Solomon interrogated the demon, his voice steady as the temple stones, learning Ornias's home among the stars, a celestial lair where his power festered, thwarted only by the angel Uriel's divine radiance. Ordered to cut stones for the temple, Ornias bowed, his shadow trembling under Solomon's gaze, his form a testament to the king's dominion over the infernal, yet his eyes burned with a promise of vengeance, a spark that lingered in the night. The Testament of Solomon paints Ornias as a thief of life, his touch a plague that drained vitality, his presence a curse that haunted Jerusalem's builders. In ancient Judea, priests whispered his name in fear, their altars glowing with offerings to bar his entry, their hands trembling as they etched his sigils in clay, the tablets cracking as if grazed by his claws. The worker's tale spread, a warning to honor the divine or face Ornias's hunger, his shadow a chain that bound the soul to dread. In 2025, his terror lingers in relics. A Jerusalem museum holds a clay fragment, etched with Ornias's name, its edges worn as if touched by his mist. Chilling curators, who feel his gaze pulse through the ages. In 2024, Jordanian tales whisper of a laborer spared a wasting sickness after burying a seal inscribed with Uriel's name, the air heavy with relief as the ground stilled, yet scarred with faint claw marks that glowed under moonlight. Ornias's vampiric hunger is a tide that sweeps through time, his form a shadow that slithers through dreams, his eyes a curse that binds the soul. His servitude to Solomon was a chain forged by divine will, yet his malice never fully stilled, his hisses a storm that haunts the heart. The temple stones he cut stand as a testament to Solomon's power, yet their cracks whisper of Ornias's defiance, a demon whose hunger endures in the dark. Demonology fans, which of Ornias's terrors chills you most, his theft of vitality or his shadow that binds the soul? His malice lingers, his chains ever tested, his hunger a tide that threatens to consume the night. Beelzebub, Prince of Demons. Beelzebub, the Prince of Demons, once the highest angel in heaven's radiant court, now reigns as a lord of chaos, his dominion stretching over the spirits of air and earth. His presence a plague that withers hope. His form is a grotesque mockery of his former glory, a towering figure wreathed in a swarm of flies, their buzzing a chorus of despair that drowns the soul, his wings jagged and torn, vibrating with fury, his eyes burning like dying stars that sear the heart with dread. In the Testament of Solomon, Orneus, bound by the searing light of Solomon's divine ring, dragged Beelzebub before the king's throne in Jerusalem's sacred halls, his raucous growl shaking the temple's stones, the air thick with ash and the stench of decay, as if the earth itself recoiled from his malice. He confessed his dominion over all demons, his power to sow discord that shattered kingdoms, his breath a pestilence that felled cities, his presence a storm that choked life from the land. Solomon, unwavering, forced him to reveal his secrets, the divine name blazing on the ring binding Beelzebub's will, his chains a testament to the king's power to subdue even hell's mightiest lord. Yet his eyes promised vengeance, a spark of chaos that lingered in the shadows of the temple. Ordered to serve the temple's construction, Beelzebub's strength hauled massive stones no mortal could lift, each slab trembling under his touch as if the earth feared his wrath, his wings buzzing with a fury that threatened to unravel Solomon's command. In ancient Judea, priests whispered his name in terror, their altars glowing with offerings to bar his influence, their hands trembling as they etched his sigils in clay, the tablets cracking as if grazed by his claws. His power to sow disease left villages desolate, their fields scarred with blight, the air heavy with the hum of his flies, a reminder of his unyielding malice. In 2025, his shadow persists. A Jerusalem museum holds a relic etched with his name, its clay pulsing with an unearthly hum, chilling curators who feel his gaze burn through the ages, the air thick with dread as if his wings stir just beyond sight. In 2024, tales from Jordan whisper of a village spared a plague after invoking the divine name, the ground scarred with faint claw marks that glowed under moonlight, the silence heavy with Beelzebub's retreating presence. Beelzebub's wrath is a storm held at bay, his chains a warning of Solomon's dominion, yet his power endures, a tide of chaos that threatens to sweep the soul into darkness. Demonology fans, which of Beelzebub's terrors chills you more, this plague-wrought ruin, or his discord that shatters hope? His shadow lingers, his flies ever buzzing, his eyes a curse that binds the heart. Onoskelis, the seductress of ruin. Onoskelis, a female demon of deception, emerged from the shadows of Solomon's court, her beauty a radiant trap that veiled a monstrous truth, her presence a silken curse that wove ruin into the hearts of men. In the Testament of Solomon, she appeared as a woman of unearthly allure, her eyes glowing with a forbidden fire that burned the soul, her voice a whisper that coiled like smoke, luring men to their doom. Yet her legs, grotesque and mule-like, kicked with feral strength, betraying her demonic nature, their cloven hooves scarring the earth as if the ground itself recoiled from her touch. She descended from her starry lair, a celestial abyss where her power festered, to seduce and destroy, her touch igniting a lust that consumed souls to ash, leaving only despair in its wake. A tale from Jerusalem's temple builders speaks of a laborer ensnared by her gaze, his dreams haunted by her silken voice, his body wasting as her laughter a gale that chilled the heart echoed through the night, the air thick with the scent of decay, his tools trembling as if sensing her presence. Solomon, wielding the divine ring gifted by the archangel Michael, bound Onoskelis with its blazing seal, her beauty fading as her true form-cloven hooves and shadowed eyes writhed in chains of light, her screams a tempest that shook the temple's stones. Forced to spin hemp ropes for the sacred construction, her hands moved under divine compulsion, yet her eyes burned with defiance, promising ruin to those who faltered in faith. The angel Joel's name alone could thwart her, his radiance a shield against her charms, his invocation a chain that tethered her malice. In ancient Judea, priests etched her sigils on clay tablets, their hands trembling as they burned incense to bar her entry. the altars glowing with a faint, unearthly light, the ground scarred with hoof marks that pulsed under moonlight. In 2025, her terror lingers. A Jerusalem museum displays a tablet with her form, its clay seeming to hum with her energy, chilling curators who feel her gaze pierce through the ages, the air heavy with dread as if her wings stirred just beyond sight. In 2024, Jordanian tales whisper of a man spared her seduction after invoking Joel's name, his home marked with faint hoofprints that glowed under starless skies, the air thick with relief yet laced with fear of her return. Onoskelis's power is a paradox of beauty and ruin, her allure a chain that binds the soul, her laughter a storm that haunts the heart. Her servitude to Solomon was a testament to his divine authority, yet her defiance endures, her shadow a warning to those who tread sacred grounds. The ropes she spun for the temple stand as a monument to her binding, yet their frayed edges whisper of her unyielding malice, a tide of chaos that threatens to break free. Demonology fans, which of Onoskelis's terrors chills you moster, seductive allure that burns the soul or her feral hooves that scar the earth? Her chains hold fast, but her gaze remains a curse, her laughter a gale that stirs the night. Asmodeus, the destroyer of marriages. Asmodeus, a demon of lust and wrath, stalked into Solomon's court, his form a blaze of fire and shadow, his eyes piercing like daggers. Known from the Book of Tobit and Testament of Solomon, he marred the beauty of virgins and incited murders, his presence a poison that tore apart bonds of love. He confessed to Solomon his hatred for purity, his power to drive men to madness, his throne among the stars. The angel Raphael's name alone could banish him, his liver and gall of a sheatfish, a ritual to drive him back to the abyss. Solomon bound him with the ring, forcing him to labor on the temple, his fiery wrath cooled by divine command, yet his gaze promised vengeance, a shadow that lingered in the dreams of the unwary. Oberzuth, the child slayer. Oberzuth, a limbless horror with disheveled hair, trailing like tangled shadows, slithered into Solomon's presence, her head a gorgon-like terror that froze the soul with a single glance, her eyes glinting like cursed flames in the dark. In the Testament of Solomon, she roamed the night, a spectre of death whose gaze snuffed out newborn infants, her breath a plague that choked life from cradles, leaving mothers weeping over empty beds, the air thick with despair and the stench of decay. Her resemblance to Lilith echoed in her child-slaying wrath, her form a grotesque mockery of motherhood, her serpentine body writhing as if mocking the bonds of life. She confessed to Solomon her delight in strangling infants, her hisses a chilling hymn of malice, her power unbound save by the angel afar off, whose name alone could chain her, his radiance a shield that burned through her darkness. In Jerusalem's ancient streets, midwives whispered her name in fear, their altars strewn with salt to bar her entry, the ground trembling as her shadow prowled, the silence heavy with the wail of her victims. Solomon, wielding the divine ring's blazing seal, bound Oberzuth and hung her by her matted hair before the temple, a grim warning to all, her screams a haunting wail that echoed through Jerusalem's moonlit streets, piercing the heart like a blade. Her body, suspended in chains of light, writhed in defiance, yet her malice remained a tide that threatened to spill free, her eyes burning with a hunger that never stilled. In 2025, her terror lingers. A Jerusalem museum holds a clay relic etched with her form, its edges worn as if grazed by her coils, chilling curators who feel her gaze pulse through the ages. In 2024, Jordanian tales whisper of a village spared a child's death after invoking a far-off's name, the cradle marked with faint scratches that glowed under starlight, the air heavy with relief yet laced with dread. Oberzuth's wrath is a curse that haunts the night, her breath a plague that binds the soul, her screams a tide that threatens to drown hope. Demonology fans, which of Oberzuth's terrors chills you moster gaze that slays infants, or her wail that pierces the heart? Her malice endures, her chains ever tested, her shadow a nightmare that stalks the dark. Enepsigos, the shapeshifter of stars. Enepsigos, a triple-faced demoness akin to the dread goddess Hecate, emerged before Solomon's throne. Her countless names, a litany of terror, her forms shifting like moonlight on water, each visage a mask of chaos that chilled the soul. In the Testament of Solomon, she boasted the power to become Kronos, the Greek titan whose scythe devoured time, or a woman of lunar dread, her eyes glowing like twin moons in a starless void, her voice a whisper that wove nightmares into the heart. Her home among the stars pulsed with celestial malice, her influence tied to the moon's sphere, where her forms defied the temple's sacred walls, too vast to contain, her shadows spilling like ink across Jerusalem's stones. A tale from the temple's builders speaks of a night when the moon dimmed, her triple faces appearing in dreams, her laughter a gale that stirred dread, the air thick with the scent of ash as workers woke trembling, their tools scarred as if grazed by her shifting forms. Only the angel Rathaniel's name could bind her, his radiant seal a chain that tethered her boundless power to Solomon's will, her hisses fading as the divine light burned through her darkness. Forced to aid the temple's construction, Enepsigos' shapeshifting ceased, her triple faces frozen in a grimace of rage, each snarling visage a testament to her defiance, her power bent to serve yet her whispers promising a storm of chaos waiting to break free. Solomon's ring, blazing with the divine name, held her fast, yet her presence haunted Jerusalem's nights, her lunar influence stirring fear in those who gazed at the moon. In 2025, her terror lingers. A Jerusalem museum holds a relic etched with her triple faces, its clay pulsing with an unearthly hum, chilling curators who feel her gaze shift through the ages. In 2024, Jordanian tales whisper of a village spared a lunar eclipse's curse after invoking Rathaniel's name, the ground marked with faint scratches that glowed under moonlight, the air heavy with relief yet laced with dread. Enepsigos' chaos is a tide that threatens to unravel order, her forms a curse that binds the soul, her whispers a storm that haunts the night. Demonology fans, which of Enepsigos' terrors chills you most, her shape-shifting faces or her lunar dread? Her chains hold, but her malice endures, her storm ever poised to break free. Ephippus, the mountain mover. Ephippus, a demon of Arabia, burst forth from a wineskin like a tempest unleashed, his form a swirling maelstrom of power, his voice a roar that shook the earth, splintering the air with the weight of ancient chaos. In the Testament of Solomon, he boasted of overturning kings' palaces with a single gust, withering forests until their leaves crumbled to ash, and moving mountains as if they were mere pebbles. His strength a force unmatched, save by the divine will that bound the heavens. His poisonous winds swept through Arabia, slaying all in their path, the sands scorched black, the air thick with the stench of decay, as villages fell silent under his wrath. Captured by Solomon's servant in a desolate Arabian waste, Ephippus was sealed within a wineskin by the blazing seal of Solomon's ring, its divine light chaining his tempest to the king's command. Bowing before Solomon's throne, his eyes burned with defiance, their glow like embers of a dying star. Yet he lifted the temple's cornerstone, his power harnessed to raise a monument to divine glory. The stones trembling as if fearing his touch, the air heavy with the echo of his roar. With the Red Sea demon, Ephippus raised a great pillar from the ocean's depths, its surface scarred as if clawed by his winds, a testament to Solomon's dominion over chaos. Yet his presence remained a shadow of dread, a reminder of the unbound terror he wielded. In ancient Jerusalem, priests whispered his name in fear, their altars glowing with offerings to bar his gales, the ground scarred with faint cracks that pulsed under moonlight. In 2025, his legacy haunts. A Jerusalem museum holds a relic etched with his sigil, its clay seeming to hum with his tempest, chilling curators who feel his roar in the silence. In 2024, Jordanian tales speak of a village spared a sandstorm after invoking the divine name, the sands marked with swirling scars that glowed faintly, the air thick with relief yet laced with dread. Ephippus's power is a tide of destruction, his roar a curse that shakes the soul, his chains a fragile barrier against his chaos. Demonology fans, which of Ephippus's terrors chills you most, this mountain-moving might, or his poisonous winds. His tempest lingers, his defiance unbound, his roar a storm that haunts the earth. Abasethebu, the hardener of hearts. Abasethebu, the last of Solomon's captives, emerged as a one-winged demon, his form a twisted mockery of an angel, his single wing dripping with shadow-like ink from a shattered quill, his presence a curse that chilled the soul. In the Testament of Solomon, he claimed descent from an archangel, once seated in the radiant first heaven, now fallen to plot against all spirits, his whispers fueling defiance that turned faith to stone. He hardened Pharaoh's heart against Moses, his voice a venomous hiss that wove rebellion into Egypt's courts, the air thick with dread as his influence choked mercy from the land, leaving rivers red and hearts unyielding. His gaze, burning with malice, pierced the soul, his single wing flapping with a mournful wail that echoed through the night, the ground trembling as if the earth itself mourned his fall. Thwarted only by the angel Iameth, whose radiant name burned through his darkness, Abasethebu was bound by Solomon's ring, its divine seal chaining his malice, yet his eyes lingered with a promise of rebellion, a spark of chaos that refused to fade. Forced to serve the temple's construction, Abasethebu's wing was clipped, his power bent to haul stones for the sacred monument, yet his presence remained a tide of darkness, his whispers a curse that haunted Jerusalem's builders. In ancient Judea, priests etched his sigil on clay tablets, their hands trembling as they burned offerings to bar his influence, the altars scarred with cracks that pulsed under starlight. In 2025, his terror persists. A Jerusalem museum holds a relic bearing his name, its clay seeming to hum with his defiance, chilling curators who feel his gaze pierce the ages. In 2024, Jordanian tales whisper of a village spared division after invoking Imeth's name, the ground marked with faint scratches that glowed faintly, the air heavy with relief yet laced with fear. Abasethebu's power is a tide that threatens to sweep the soul into darkness, his wing a shadow that binds the heart, his whispers a storm that hardens faith. Demonology fans, which of Abasethebu's terrors chills you Mothis' heart-hardening whispers, or his shadowed wing? His malice lingers, his chains ever tested, his rebellion a curse that haunts the night. Solomon's command over these 8 spirits, Ornias, Beelzebub, Onoskelis, Asmodeus, Obezuth, Enepsigos, Ephippus, and Abasethebuov, a legend of wisdom and terror. His ring, blazing with divine power, bound their chaos to build the temple, a sacred monument forged by infernal hands. In 2025, their names echo in grimoires like the Lesser Key of Solomon, their sigils etched in museum relics, their terror alive in tales of midwives chanting against unseen shadows. From starborn seductresses to mountain-moving terrors, these demons embody a chaos that Solomon chained but never tamed. Their legacy warns of power's cost, of wisdom's burden, and of nightmares that linger in the dark. Demonology fans, which of these spirits haunts you most? Ornias's vampiric hunger or Obezuth's child-slaying wrath? Share below and subscribe for more dives into the abyss of demonology. Until next time, beware the shadows that stir under starlight.